Good morning. I'm Tim. This is my thoughts, my ramblings, my story. It's 3:20 on Monday afternoon, and it's 8/18/2014. Uh, had a good one last week. A friend stopped by, and we were talking about something in particular, and the phone rang. I looked at the caller ID, and it has our house phone number, and when it's looked where who's calling, it says house. Then when the phone told me who was calling, it says you have a phone call from house. I answered it and nobody was there. I just got a dial tone. I've gotten phone calls like that before. Well, back probably about '06, '04, somewhere in there. Um, had to put down Tiger, one of our cats, and I was pretty bummed about it because I really didn't care for cats, but Tiger was cool because she was more like a dog. He was more like a dog than he was a cat. We had a black lab, um, a basset hound, and an Australian heeler for the dogs and one cat. And Tiger just fit in there perfectly. He figured that he was part of the dogs. And we used to let the dogs out in the front yard, but they knew not to go on the sidewalk. They stayed right in the grass. Well, the cat would get out there, and she would just go and take off. And I'm going to put up a picture. Let's see, right there. Okay, now I don't have to sit here and look at myself, and I probably feel a lot better if I keep my mind going. Okay, where I was. Um, oh, we'd let her out in front, so the cat would take off, the dogs would stay in the yard. So I had a piece of like a swing chain used to use on kids' swing sets. I had a piece out about 6 foot long, so I just put a screw in it to the fence post and one end, put a clip on the other end, and left it for Shadow or for Tiger, and happy as can be, roamed all over as long as far as the chain would allow him, and he'd lay down out there and just relax in the sunshine and stuff, just like the dogs were doing. When we went out in the backyard, there was a 6 foot wood fence around the backyard, and I had a garden back there and stuff. He really liked laying in the garden. But I had a piece of swing chain back there. It was probably about this long. And I clipped that on him, and it dragged in between his legs. And as far as he was concerned, he was chained up. He would jump up on the little picnic bench and swat at the dogs if they come around to bug him. But he'd sit up there and watch in the garden for the lizards and things, and just have a blast back there in the backyard. The two things that this brings across, the phone call I think was from my mother. During meditations, that's the energy I'm getting. Sometimes when they want to get in touch with us and we're not paying attention, they go in roundabout ways to try and help us become aware of them and what they're doing. And for those who have lost somebody and you have a dream about them, remember as much as you can about the dream. Remember how bright the colors are. Remember the love, the energy that you felt from them and you gave back to them. Because I believe all that is real. I believe that we actually do communicate with those who have left the physical earth because they just moved through the veil. They're back home. And don't let other people say, oh, you're just imagining that, or try and get you to doubt what you feel. You know what happened. You know how you feel about it. And why should other people try and take it away? Because are they jealous? Or are they afraid you're going to look strange? So if we're afraid all the times we look strange, we'd never go out of the house. Look at me right now. I at least put a shirt on and buttoned the top couple of buttons. But yeah, there's so much going on around us that we need to start waking up and believing what we feel, quit allowing people to get us to doubt them. I went to Catholic school for 8 years. And I remember them telling me when I was a little kid, I couldn't believe what my mind was telling me or what I felt about things or things that made me feel uncomfortable, because I didn't know I needed to listen to them, because they would tell me what I needed and what was right. And we never got along real good. They had too many things that didn't fit. The best one was the Bible, that there was Adam and Eve, and they had Cain and Abel, and Cain killed Abel, and incest is wrong, so where in the hell did the rest of us come from? Oh, they got a way of explaining that now, but yeah, there's just too many things that don't add up. If you look at it from a, I think it's kind of funny, point of view, that governments and religions both are there for the same purpose. Government takes your money away by taxes, and if you don't do it, they'll put you in jail. Religion does it by tidings or paying the preacher because he's too lazy to work. And if you don't do that, then you're going to go to hell. They both tell us that we have free will, and then tell us all the things we can't do. So I'm all for getting rid of governments and religion. Let's go spiritual. Let's start living our life and quit worrying so damn much about what the neighbors are doing or other people are doing. If it's not infringing on your life, leave it alone, let it go. We've got more people in prison in this country for stupid things, and we're supposed to be an advanced society, and we have more people in prison per capita than I think than any other country in the world, and they're finding more and more ways to do it. You used to have an automobile accident, it was an automobile accident. Now we want to see who we can throw in jail for it. Everybody's ranting and raving about, oh, that person did this to me and that person did that to me. It all depends on how you look at things. Some people are proud to carry a grudge. I've been mad at that son of a bitch for the past 20 years. I'm never going to forgive him. And you look at the guy that he's been mad at, that guy seems to be doing fine. The one who's mad is the one that's got a nasty disposition. They're usually not feeling well. They don't realize that the only person that they're hurting by hanging on to that anger, that energy, is themselves. Because my old man used to be a good one for that. He would get mad and dishonest and cut us out of the will on different things. And it's kind of like the only thing he did was cut out the opportunity to be around his grandchildren and watch them grow, and the things that they could do, the things that they discovered. So there's a lot out there to think about. I've read a lot, I've studied a lot on spirituality, off-world beings, paranormal, anything that is out of the norm for Main Street society, I've looked into, or tried to. I grew up in a house in Pennsylvania that was haunted. You could sit there in the living room late at night, and you could hear the big front door closed. And the house was built in 1883, so it was a big, the walls were like 3 foot solid stone. So it was a big, heavy door on the front of the house, and you would hear that close. Then there was a small grate for air circulation because it had a coal furnace in it at the bottom of the stairs, and you could hear somebody walk on that. And then there was a couple of stairs that creaked on the way up, and you could hear them step on those. I want to say that I've heard talking, but that could be more now than it was before. I was talking to somebody the other day and found out how much of my memory is not there. I don't know where it went, but my wife and I will be talking, or somebody else and I will be talking, and normally it's short-term memory that goes away, but this is something that happened 20, 30 years ago, and I have no memory of it. And it's kind of like, wow, So now I gotta get back to where I was before I went off on that track to figure out what was going on. I don't know. Death keeps on popping into my mind. Remember that when we come in, when I had to wreck in '84, from what I understand, I was dead for about 5 minutes. So there's no heartbeat, no nothing. I have no recollection of that, of what went on during that time period. But that's happened to me quite often. I'm able to black out things. Only trouble is I don't remember what went on here and what went on to wherever I blacked out to. Because I've had cops after a motorcycle accident. I have no recollection of the accident or anything else. And I look at the police report and they talk about where they were talking to me and the answers I was giving and things like that. And I have no recollection of talking to them. And I have no recollection of where part of me went to, why I wasn't there. And with the motorcycle accidents, I seem to come back about 3 weeks later. That was going somewhere and I lost it again. Damn. Oh, okay. So I started trying to figure out what was going on and how part of it took me to how we come in. Because there was a great saying, my ex-wife used to say it all the time, that her mom would say something to her and she'd say, well, don't get mad at me. It happened in the heat of the night and it wasn't my fault. And when you get into spirituality, they talk about you plan your life. Which really, I planned my life. I planned all those motorcycle crashes. I planned to break my neck twice. And the more I got into it, I believe I did. That there was a point that I wanted to follow something and I needed a wake-up call. There's a book called Courageous Consciousness, and I think it's by Robert Schwartz, and it goes through the life of 5 different people who have had a traumatic event in their life. And the one I remember is the guy who was in his early 30s, just got his own restaurant and breaks his neck diving into a pool at a party they were having to celebrate the opening of the restaurant, and breaks his neck and becomes a quadriplegic. That interested me when I was reading that one because of, they say you plan your own life. And it's been a year since I read the story, but his I paid particular attention to. And it goes to, it takes you from now, and he introduces you, if you're open to it, I imagine. He has to have people that will work with him. But he introduced them to 2 different psychics who go back to your pre-birth planning. Conference, session, whatever. But they're at 2 different times so that you can compare one to the other and see what was said. But this gentleman who broke his neck and was quadriplegic, in his life planning session, the soul that would be him was talking to the soul that would be the mother, and I imagine they communicated through the mind. I don't think they had a talking right now. That word's not coming to mind, but they discussed that he wanted to have something traumatic happen when he was a child. And the mother said that she had been through a few lifetimes with him, and they were really close. And she didn't think she could go through with that. He would have to have it happen at a later time. So I imagine whole soul families in there, everybody that you'll be interacting with, that's here on Earth and on the other side. You get to interact with all of them. So you get to meet your parents before you come in. Well, you get to choose your parents with them. That was really one for me to work on. But he went to the soul of the woman or the soul that was going to be said that she would be his wife here. And she said she didn't know, but she thought that possibly she could do it. And if she would be able to, she would do something at that time that would prolong his life. Another soul volunteered to come in and help because that soul had worked with the soul that would be the mother in quite a few other lifetimes, and they had worked together and helped one another out. And then there was another soul there that said he would be their second child, but he wasn't sure if he was going to that family or another one. Backstory on it, the soul that was coming in, the one that ended up becoming a quadriplegic, he had come in the past 4 lifetimes and had good intentions of going into doing his spirituality and things like that, and got sidetracked and got caught up in the material things and forgot all about spirituality and all the things that he wanted to accomplish. And this would be his way of bringing himself back. And I started thinking about that. And yeah, each time I've had a crash or something, I've changed where I was going. I had to basically reinvent myself, figure out who I was, what I was doing, because everything up to the point of where I was at that time, I realized wasn't working. So I've constantly had to keep on going through things. The last one is this damn heart surgery. I still ain't figured out what's up with that one, because I figured when I got out of there, I'd be willing and ready to go. Took a while to get through where I am now, but we're changing up. Had physical therapy today. We're changing up on that, so it was different, but I think this will help me progress more. Because I still do want to walk. I still want to go back to the Yucatan. I want to go to Peru. Terry's never been there. There's just so much I still want to do. And walking would help it a whole lot. But coming in, like I was talking about with doing the pre-birth planning session, you have souls that from your soul family you've had other reincarnations with, and you plan out things that will help you and how you can help other souls, and it's like everybody working together for the advancement of all of us. Then you come into the physical world and you forget all about that. If you have somebody that no matter how much you try, it doesn't seem to be able to go forward, just keep on running and bumping heads. It's people really don't believe it, but you can do it. Start talking to yourself. Tell yourself before you go down, lay down at night, I want to go meet so and so tonight, so that we can talk and figure out if we can't do something about what's going on. Because if you can't get it straightened out, and it's something that's holding you back to where every time you see them, you get all uptight and have a hard time functioning and things, realize that it's very possibly something from a past life. It's something that you guys need to work on. And if you can't work on it right now, it might be better to talk to that person through the mind at night. Damn, I wish I could remember the right word. But at night they say we go out of the body almost every night. And I always like to travel on the astral plane to see. I'm surrounded with light for my protection, but to see if I can't help others. And one of the things that I do is, if I've got somebody that I'm having a problem with, or if I need to work with, I ask can I go meet them tonight so that we can get this stuff straightened out. And you might not notice it the first time. It's because most of us haven't ever tried anything like this, so we've got to work at it. So it may take a few times before you feel like anything's happened. Even if you don't feel like anything's happened, continue to do it and continue to request whatever it is you want over and over again, and realize that you can release this person and come pick it up at a later time. When you get to the other side, you can talk about it and work it out and figure out what was going on and what was wrong. But don't put yourself through all kinds of, I want to say hell, discomfort, anxiety, worrying here because of someone else. We're here to grow and move forward, and sometimes what you've planned, your part of it would be great, but they're not doing the other part that you need. So you can walk away from them, surround them with love and light, and talk to God about it. Just, it's not working. I'm turning it over to you, God. Thank you for all the gifts you've given me, but this one I'm going to have to put at your feet because you're so much wiser and better at this than I am. Whatever way you want to put it, but I hope you get the general idea of what I'm trying to get across. I'm going to go back to the picture here because I'm looking at the water. Oh, there I are. Okay. I've rambled for a long time, so I'm going to get off and probably go make myself a wine cooler and sit down in a chair and relax for a while. I'm tired, so I think I'm allowed to do that. Okay. Remember, in the end, only kindness matters. It's free, so pass it around. Open your heart to love. And I'm really sick and tired of hearing all the crap about Obama and politics and stuff like that. Face it, there isn't one of them in there that gives a damn about any of us. They're in there for themselves and their corporations. And they want to point fingers and say that one caused it, this one caused it, whatever. Why don't we just plan on voting them all out and put people in who have never been in before? Maybe this will wake up the ones that aren't getting elected this time around. Because they're all sitting on their hands saying, I can't do my job because we got a black president. Well, I hate to tell you this, but he has nothing to do with your job that you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to work and compromise and do the best for the people. Not the best for you, not the best for the person over there, not best for corporations, the best for the people of this country. So as far as I'm concerned, all the politicians can go straight to hell. I wish them no ill harm, but I wish they'd go home soon. I'm tired of seeing them. And peace, love, and light. And I'm off my soapbox, and I'm out of here. Good night. Thank you.